All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started because y'all are here on time and I want to respect that. So again, I'm Jen from the College Place, Oregon, and today we're going to go and talk about financial aid offers. So, and I'm assuming that you've gotten at least one financial aid offer, and if you haven't, one should be coming pretty quickly. At this point, you should have financial aid offers from your four-year colleges and universities. Here in Oregon, our two-year public colleges or community colleges usually don't get financial aid offers out until after graduation. So if you're waiting on a community college aid offer, it might be just a little bit longer. Okay, so we're going to do some quick review because I know that we're all excited. I'm excited. I was just at David Douglas High School this afternoon and working with seniors there, getting really excited to graduation. So, so you hopefully have a couple college acceptances, maybe one or two financial aid offers. We'll just quickly go over the basics. It's been a while. Financial aid comes in four forms. Grants and scholarships are free money. We also call this gift aid kind of in the biz. But if you are given or awarded anything called a grant or a scholarship, those are funds that you don't have to pay back. So those are our favorite types of financial aid. Now, work study, there's federal work study, which is a federal student aid program that provides part-time jobs for students on campus, usually on campus the first year or two, and then off campus maybe the third or fourth year if you're in a four-year program. Colleges also supplement this with their own work study funds. So instead of seeing federal work study on your financial aid offer, you might just see work study. It's an excellent program. It's a way for students to earn some money and to gain experience working. You'll get paid at least a minimum wage, and you can do whatever you'd like with your paychecks. You can save them for upcoming expenses. You can spend them on your living expenses. So if you're not seeing work study on your financial aid award, it could be because you forgot to check yes to the work study box on the FAFSA or so when you completed it. Or it could be that your school doesn't have enough work study to come around to everybody. So if you don't have a work study award on your aid offer, you can go ahead and ask to be put on the waiting list. And then finally, I love how we've just made the student loans just very dank and gray. But loans are money that you've borrowed that you'll eventually have to repay. No one's going to just give you a loan without you knowing about it. There are a couple of different steps you'll have to take. You have to accept the loan. You'll have to complete the promissory note. You'll have to undergo loan counseling. And you can always decline loans. There's no rule that says that you have to take them. So just remember, grants and scholarships, the best kind of financial aid. Work study, a really good type of financial aid, and loans are there if you need them. They're a tool. All right, so I know that we've probably talked about cost of attendance before, but it is the all-in cost. So it consists of direct costs, which are things that you pay directly to the college. This will always be tuition and fees. This might also be room and board if you're living on campus in a residence hall or an on-campus apartment. It might be books and supplies if you're only using your college bookstore, but it's not going to be personal expenses. It's not going to be transportation expenses. So what we're really concerned about here is that we know how we're separating out our direct costs and our indirect costs. Now with direct costs, you'll get a bill each term or semester, and that bill will have your direct costs. It'll take out the financial aid that you've been awarded and accepted in the case of a student loan. And then either you will owe money to the school or you might be receiving a financial aid refund. Either way, it should make a lot of sense. It should very closely track what is on your financial aid offer. If you receive a refund, you can then use those funds to pay for things like room and board, books and supplies, personal expenses, or transportation expenses. So, and if you owe funds to the school, this would be the point where you'd say, oh, I owe money. I do make that noise myself. I have still one in college. I can't pay it all right away. You can set up a payment plan with the college, or you might decide that, yeah, maybe you do need a little bit of that loan. So we'll work that out for you. All right, so we've talked about that cost of attendance. We've talked about direct costs and indirect costs. And we want to talk about one more concept, which is sticker price. And sticker price is what's listed on the college's website. You can find that information by looking at that cost of attendance, and want to make sure you're looking at the right year, but you can look those up online. Now, that sticker price, that direct cost, it's going to vary. You can see here we've got a really big difference between our public university, which is subsidized by the taxpayers in the state or in the community college boundary, and the private university. So we want to just be really, really sure that we've got that together. Now, the one thing I'm going to have you look at here is to compare the indirect costs. They're similar, but it really depends on the college and the lifestyle. Here in Portland, where I'm based, PCC, Portland State, and University of Portland are all colleges in Portland that have the word Portland in their name. Their book and supply costs and their personal transportation costs vary quite a bit. So often that is a function of what types of students attend a particular college or university. That's something to really keep an eye out for. If you're a person that, you can walk across campus to class and you don't need that transportation on campus, but maybe you're flying back and forth, you have to think about that. If you're a person that spends a lot of money, maybe you're a huge movie buff, and it's not just the movies, but you're getting the drinks and the snacks. That's going to be a higher expense than if you eat in the dining hall and watch on Netflix. So we're going to think about those things a little bit. So our first piece of advice when we're comparing is to know what the cost of attendance is. It might not be on your offer letter, and technically it's a financial aid offer. In some cases, you'll get an actual letter in the mail, but in a lot of cases, you'll be asked to log into the student portal system. And in that system, when you're looking at your financial aid offer, on that screen, there might not be a cost of attendance. It might be that you have to click a link to get to it. It might not be in that portal at all. You might have to go out to the larger college website to find it. So be sure that you know what the cost of attendance is as you're looking at a financial aid offer. We want to look and see how much your family is expected to pay, and we'll look at a couple of examples in a minute. We'll look at the different types of financial aid you're being offered. Remember, grants and scholarships are free. We like them, but loans do have to be repaid with interest. So we're going to keep an eye on student loans, understand how much we'll owe when we're finished with our program if we're borrowing that much each year. And usually the amount that you are allowed to borrow under the federal student loan programs does increase the more years you've been in college. So now we're going to get into the meat of this. And this is a sample financial aid offer. It's got nice round numbers. You won't see numbers quite this round out in the wild. But you'll see that we've got a direct cost. The student's going to be on campus in a residence hall with a meal plan of some sort. A direct cost of $56,000. Indirect costs of $4,000, and a total cost, that total cost of attendance of $60,000. Now on the right-hand side in that column, you can see the sample financial aid package. And again, your numbers won't be quite this round, but we've got a federal Pell Grant. We've got a federal supplemental educational opportunity grant. So you might have to dig a little bit to figure out that FSEOG is actually a grant program. We've got a college scholarship. So we're pretty happy. We've got gift aid, like good money, of $30,000 for the year. All right, so you'll see Also, we have a subsidized loan and a direct unsubsidized loan. Those totals are the maximum that you can borrow as a first-year college student. You don't have to borrow that much. If you only need to borrow 1,000, only borrow 1,000. When you come back and you say, I don't need to borrow as much as you've offered me, we will first reduce the unsubsidized loan, because the subsidized loan is a better loan for you as a student. So you might see those numbers changing with some requests. And then lastly, we've got some work study. So we're going to do a little bit of math. If we take that $56,000 and we subtract out $30,000, you'll see that you might have a gap there of about $26,000. And if we look at the work study and the student loans, that's another $6,500. So it's a total of $36,500, but we still don't have enough to cover our total cost of attendance. And there's a difference of about $19,500. So that means that you're going to have to come up with some way to pay for that $19,500. Now, for some families, they might have it in savings, they might have it in income available, or they might need to borrow that amount. So you could always work up a plan that uses all three: money from the past, current money from the future, and money from a loan, which would be, or money from the present, and then money from a loan, which is money from the future. And you can work out a payment plan. So please don't get stuck on that number yet. But what we really want to do is to sit down as a family and talk about who's going to pay for college. So are parents willing and able to pay something out of savings or out of a paycheck? Are parents willing to borrow money that they have to repay one day? Have parents decided that paying for the cost of college is entirely up to the student? So it's a good time to really chat about your family philosophy. And it's also a good time to really think about, as a family, if you can save some money and cut some expenses to free up some cash, even if it's just, through making some smart choices about books and personal expenses. It might be that the student needs to take a part-time job, or if they're working the summer, that all of the funds that they're receiving this summer aren't fund money, but they're actually college money. If you've been applying for outside scholarships and you haven't heard back yet that you have won, please, please, please don't make the assumption that you will when you're kind of going through this and looking at the bill. Once you have that offer from your scholarship, once they have called you and said, Rick, yes, you have won the Jen Satellino scholarship, then you've got that money in hand. But don't count on it before you actually have it. And it's not too late. You can still continue to apply for scholarships even now. And then finally, if that financial aid is less than you'd hoped for, I want you to contact your financial aid offices about appealing the offer. This is important if something has changed in your family's financial situation, especially between 2021, which is the year of income that we reported on the FAFSA or the ORSA, and today. So sometimes things happen, and it doesn't make sense for us to expect a family to contribute based on 2021 income information if they don't have that income available in 2023 and 2024. If you've received a merit scholarship, but maybe your test scores or your GPA has improved, you might consider contacting the admissions office and letting them know that, to see if maybe you qualify for a higher scholarship amount. So definitely do some talking. And if you feel that you might have a case to appeal, feel free to contact me and I can walk through that with you and help make sure that you've got all of the information and the language that you need in your appeal. Now here's a comparison, and I'm going to give you a couple of, well, two really good websites to do these online, which is a little bit easier than doing the math here. Again, we've made this math really easy, but we've got a public college and a private college. You can see that the private college's cost of attendance is twice as much as the public colleges, so $60,000 versus $30,000. But then when we look at the total financial aid, and we get down to that total net cost. In this case, the private college is offering a lot more in gift aid and a higher work study award. So it turns out that in our example, the private college costs $1,000 less than the public college when you consider both the direct and indirect costs. And so at this point, you know, would that make a difference in your family conversation, your discussion? If we've got two colleges that the finances are pretty comparable, then instead of really picking the college that's the cheapest, which is I know how my dad thought about it when I was thinking of college, we could go through and really look at colleges that are a good fit, especially if the price is really comparable. As long as you're willing to take out those maximum student loans, then you're able to really attend either college with just a little bit of a difference in cost. Does that make sense so far?
Yes, it's quite clear.
Yes.
Okay, good. When you get involved with math, sometimes I wonder if I'm actually on the right page. So thank you for the reinforcement. All right. So typically for a four-year college or university, they are going to want to have a decision from you by May 1st about whether or not you will be attending that college or university. If you are still waiting for a financial aid offer from another college, or if you need more time than May 1st to kind of work through this with your family, you can definitely call your college that you're interested in and say, I can't make a decision and give you a deposit by May 1st. Can I have a 1 week or 2 week extension, or can I wait until I get my financial aid offer from, Jen Savellino University? Don't know what's up with them. They're really slow this year. But, don't feel that number, that date, May 1st, is written in stone. If you need more time, ask for more time. Before you send that deposit in, do the math and figure out how much you'll need to pay when your fall bill comes due, which will usually happen in August. Most colleges require that the bill be paid in full or through financial aid. But we know what the plan is before you can register for your fall classes, and definitely before you can move into a residence hall and start attending classes. All right, so I've talked a lot over the past year or two with you about fit, and fit comes in a lot of different forms, but financial fit is a really important piece of that fit. So you could have a fantastic college that suits you to a T in every way, but if you cannot afford that college, then it is not a good financial fit. And so we might need to look at some other options for you. Now, I promised you 2 tools. The first one's local here in Oregon. It's Oregon Goes to College. If you go to this website, oregongoestocollege.org/pay/compare, at the bottom of the page, they've got a lot of really good information. What I really like, they have a Google Sheet, and you click on it and it says save a copy. So you save it into your own Google Drive, and then it's just got lines for you to fill in. So you'll fill in the cost of attendance, you'll fill in the types of financial aid you're being awarded from each school that you're looking at, and then the spreadsheet will do all of the math for you, and it'll bring you back down to that bottom line. So that's a really wonderful tool. If you're in a position where it looks like you're going to need to borrow money, so borrow a loan either as a student or as a parent or both, then I would really recommend the second online tool. It's from the Consumer Finance Protection Department from the US government, but it's really helpful. You'll go in, you'll select your colleges and universities, you'll put in that cost of attendance, you'll put in the financial aid awarded, but they pay a lot of attention to whether or not you'll need to borrow. And there are a lot of tools in there. So if you say, I'm coming in, I think I'm going to be an English major, they will pull what the average English major makes on the West Coast, and then they'll look at that compared to how much you're having to borrow to attend that college or university. So, and if you're undecided, you can just use an average, but I think it really helps you put your student loan borrowing into context. So that, you might say, oh, I don't want to borrow anything. But if you're studying to become, a nuclear engineer, you could afford to borrow more than if you were studying for an occupation that paid less. Does that make sense? One more
Yeah,
thing I'm gonna, okay.
and I think I
Yeah,
think that, I think that's a really neat tool. I do have a question about the tool if you
yeah.
know it.
Mhm.
If you're using that, like, what if like you only get certain scholarships, but you don't get all of their scholarships because you don't qualify for it or something? Would you still be able to do it on there?
Yes, yes, you can just take what's on your financial aid offer and put it on there. So,
Okay.
yes, I will post these on the Google site, these 2 links. But then I also want to just really quickly, let me find it
Thank you.
here. I want to share with you, if I can find it, maybe. I have so many tabs open right now. It is not even funny. And I can't find the tab that I so carefully opened, so I'm gonna just open it again. It goes to college. Okay, and now, whoops. I got back to my desk a little bit late today. I came up right on an accident as I was coming home from another school, so I'm just a little shaky here. So, okay.
Gosh.
Everybody was fine. I think that's like the most important thing. But yeah, it shook me. Okay, so this is the Oregon Goes to College website. They're funded through Oregon Gear Up, and a lot of us here in Oregon, we give them all sorts of resources and things for them to post. We really like referring students to this website. It's a really great clearinghouse of information. So right now I'm going to go to pay. I'm going to come down to compare financial aid. And I love that they have graduation photos from all of the different colleges in Oregon. Really great information, but I think what's really, really, I did that wrong. There we go. What's really the most helpful, I guess I didn't do it wrong. When you pop this open, it'll say make a copy. I'm going to copy it into my Google Docs, and that way I can put in my own personal information. So I will say we're looking at Jasmine College. Oops, I can't even spell today. Got it. They're like, okay, Jen, learn to type. Jasmine College, Jen College, let's see, Jerry College, all of the J's. And then I can fill in, and it's going to produce that cost of attendance for me. And then I will put in all of my information. Got some work study information, got my loans here, and then it's going to tell me what my out-of-pocket cost is going to be. And if I need more than 5, I can just expand the spreadsheet. So let's just see here. I'll make something up. I'm not very good at making things up, but oh, they've got really expensive room and board there, maybe. Really cheap books. I'm really bad at this. So maybe, what did we say? We had a $6,000 Pell Grant. We had a $1,000 FSCOG. Jasmine College, I'm going to pretend that you're in Oregon and you are a 4-year college. Therefore, you can't get the Oregon Promise Grant. And maybe I have given you a full tuition scholarship with Jasmine College. So we come down here. So we've still got some out of pocket. This might be, again, you can borrow loans. You might be getting some additional scholarships in, or it might be that your family has saved funding over the years for you. So, and what's really helpful is when you populate this with all of your financial aid offers, and then you can kind of really compare, again, that total cost. You can compare the out-of-pocket costs. I think it's a really, really great tool. Your information's not shared with anybody at all. You've made your own copy, you've downloaded it into your own Google Drive. So no one gets to see it but you.
Yeah, and that's really cool that you have control over all that. And it's like, oh, what happens if I don't get this? What happens if
Right.
this?
Or what if I don't borrow this much?
Hmm.
So any other questions? I know we